Hi people, it's Malevolent Maxx, and today I'm going to show you my May 2017 Chemicritter deck profile. Now, Chemicritters are an archetype that are solely Gemini monsters. If you don't know what Geminis are, well, you're not the only one, because pretty much no one uses them anymore, and that's very sad and unfortunate because I happen to love Geminis a lot. And I think that they might have a lot of potential in Link format whenever it comes out. So first of all, we have Poly-Chemicritter Dioxogre. This is the best Chemicritter monster in the main deck. Not only is it one of the level 8s, one of the two level 8s. Also, once per turn, you can banish a Gemini monster from your graveyard to destroy one card on the field, which is also a very great effect. And he is usually the card that you bring out to go into most of your Xyz plays, along with this next monster, Poly-Chemicritter Hydragon. Hydragon is the complete opposite of Dioxogre, with 200 attack and 2800 defense. You'll mostly use this card as Xyz material, and then just attach it to the graveyard and be done with it, or bring it back from the graveyard to make more Xyz. Now next, we have 3 Chemicritter Oxy Ox. So this monster is basically the other key monster that you need in the deck. He is your main rank 8 summoner. Whenever he has his Gemini effect, you can special summon one Gemini from your hand, and then all Gemini monsters on your field become that summon monster's level. Now next, we have 2 Chemicritter Hydron Hawk. 1400 attack and 700 defense. It's not that great, but it's better than nothing. And then for the last of the Chemicritters, we have 2 Chemicritter Carbo Crab. Now, this card is the opposite of Hydron Hawk, with only 700 attack but 1400 defense. So during your main phase, you can go into your deck and send a Gemini monster to your graveyard, and then you can add a Gemini monster from your deck to your hand. Now next, we have 3 Phoenix Gearfried. This card was such a great card, and I love it so much. It has 2800 attack and 2200 defense, so it can both attack and defend pretty nicely. It is a level 8, and its Gemini effect is great. Whenever it has its Gemini effect, whenever your opponent activates a spell card, you can special summon a Gemini monster from your graveyard, and that is not once per turn. And for the last of the level 8s, we have Darkstorm Dragon. I have this card in here just because it's a Gemini. It's a level 8, 2700 attack, 2500 defense. You can't beat that. Also, send one face-up spell trap card you control to the graveyard to destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So it's basically a heavy storm, which is always a bonus. And then lastly, we have Maxx, because it's Maxx. Now for the spells, we have Catalyst Field, 3 of them. Now, if you don't have this card in the deck, you might as well not run the deck, because it is very slow, pretty much worthless without the spell card. It makes the deck run. Basically, you get 2 normal summons per turn. So it is a field spell, but that acts like a continuous double summon that you just keep, and it's pretty amazing. Also, let's say I have a level 8 in my hand, then I can go ahead and summon it if it's a Gemini without having to tribute any monsters, and then I can still normal summon. So I can either normal summon him, or I can bring out another monster from my hand. And that is always great. It's a really cool effect. And then its final effect I use quite often, surprisingly. If I control a Gemini monster that has gained its effects, then I can banish it until my opponent's next standby phase to pop a card on the field. So it does the same thing that Dioxogre does pretty much, except I get my card back to the field. So that's pretty nice. Next, I also run 3 Terraforming just so I can search out the Catalyst field. Next, I run 2 Trade-ins, and I would run 3, but I decided to also run an Advanced Draw because sometimes there aren't going to be level 8s in my hand and they're all going to be on my field, graveyard, or deck already. So this kind of helps to speed things along, basically. Next, I have 2 Silent Dooms that gets back my Geminis and puts them in defense mode and they can't attack. And then Swing of Memories brings them back, but they go at the end phase. But it's still really nice. Next, I run 2 Dragon Mirrors. There are 2 fusion monsters that go really, really well with this deck. Like, surprisingly well. It's almost like they were made for it. So, they're both dragon types, so these 2 cards just really helps with getting those out. And then also, in case you don't have any on the field or graveyard to banish to get them out, I have 1 Polymerization, but you could always substitute this with another Dragon's Mirror, or possibly anything else. Next, I run 2 Supervise. This is the equip spell I was talking about. If you equip this to a Gemini monster, it gains its effects already. Also, whenever this is sent to the graveyard, I can special summon a Gemini in my graveyard. So, it's very nice Monster Reborn, plus it gives my Geminis their effects in case I don't have any more normal summons left from Catalyst Field to do so. So it's very nice that way. Next I run 1 Dark Hole and 1 Twin Twister. You can run more copies of these if you wish, but I do recommend only these because most of the XEs in this deck already have effects where they pop the opponent's monsters and the opponent's spells and traps. So you pretty much don't really need a whole bunch of these, basically. And then lastly, for the traps, we run 3 Burnout. I love this card so much. This card is my savior. So I can activate this during either player's turn, obviously. But I can target a Chemicritter monster I control and banish it, and then special summon 2 Chemicritter Geminis from my deck. So let's say I have Oxy Ox on the field. I banish that bitch, and then I get back Dioxogre and Hydragon. Now I have 2 level 8s just like that, and I can go into my XC plays very quickly. And another good thing about these cards is while they're in my graveyard, if my opponent attacks me directly, I can banish this card from my graveyard, and then I can special summon one of my banished Geminis. So if the Gemini I banished was a Hydragon, I can special summon that in defense mode. If my opponent doesn't have a monster higher than 28 attack, then they just can't get over it, and I have a free level 8. So it's very nice. And then lastly, for my extra deck, I'm just going to try and go through this as fast as possible. This video is very long. For the fusions, we have first of the dragons. He only requires 2 normal monsters, and Geminis, whenever they don't have their Gemini effects, count as normal monsters on the field and in the graveyard. So use Dragon's Mirror to get this thing out. It's the cost of 2. It's very nice. It's a wall, so you don't really have to worry about anything taking it down. It's immune to all monster effects, and he can only be destroyed by battle with another normal monster, so it's really nice. And the other one we have is Superalloy Beast Raptinus. He just requires 2 Gemini monsters, and while he's face up on the field, all face up Gemini monsters on your side of the field gain their effects. He is just a constant Supervise, and I love him. The reason I only run 1 is because sadly his attack is at 2200, and also he doesn't usually stay on the field very long. Because sometimes whenever I'm desperate, he's also level 8, so I use him as Xyz material. But that's about it for that. And now for the Xyz themselves, we have number 22, Zombiestein. This is your biggest beater in the deck, and he requires 2 dark level 8s, so if you have 2 Dioxogres, you can go into this thing. And yeah, he's just a 4,500 beater. I don't know what else to say about it. Next, we have the Galaxy Eyes monsters. We have Galaxy Eyes Cipher Dragon, overlay 2 level 8s. Take control of one of your opponent's monsters. It becomes a Galaxy Eyes monster. And if that monster happens to be an Xyz monster, then it's a Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster. Excuse me. It's a Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster, and then you can use it to overlay into Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, which is really nice to use to pop a card on the field and so much more. And it's got 4K attack, and you can even overlay into number 95 Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon, which is another really great card. I prefer him, honestly. You can send 3 Dragon-type monsters from your deck to the graveyard. So 2 of the Hydragons and the Darkstorm Dragon. And then you can banish, or your opponent banishes 3 monsters from their deck. So it's pretty good. Also detach material from him, and he can attack twice that turn, which is with 4,000 attack. That's pretty scary. Next, we have number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo. Now, a lot of people are going to question why I have this card, because he requires 3 level 8s. My response is Final Countdown. Just those Bernie stall decks that you just cannot seem to get past or get rid of, and you got like, I don't know, like 5 turns left before Final Countdown gets you. You get this thing out, detach material from it every turn. Whenever it gets 3 counters on it for the materials it detaches, then you win the duel. It's a nice automatic win card, and it's got 3,200 attack, so that's pretty good. The only downside is that when you activate its effect, you can't enter your battle phase that turn, but that's fine. And my other Gimmick Puppet is number 15, Giant Grinder. I have that because my opponent has Xyz monsters on the field. Then I can pop both of them and then burn my opponent damage equal to their attack. It is a great card, and it can destroy other monsters too. It doesn't have to be Xyz, so I love it for that. Now for the main boss of the deck, Vola-Chemicritter Methydraco. This card is amazing. 3K attack and defense, and requires 2 level 8 Gemini monsters. So, whenever he's Xyz summoned, I can special summon a Gemini from my graveyard very quickly. And then, while he has Xyz material, my opponent cannot target my Gemini monsters for attacks or card effects, which is freaking amazing. And lastly, and this is one of the best ones, if a Gemini monster on my field is normal summoned, I can detach a material from him, and my opponent picks a card from their hand to discard, or sends a card from their side of the field to the graveyard. So 2 great things. 1, it doesn't destroy, so a lot of cards aren't going to get their effects. And 2, my opponent chooses, so I'm not targeting them myself. So it is a great card to get around just about everything, almost. Next, I run Coach King Giantrainer. Again, this is one of the ones that's just if you're really desperate and you just need to draw a lot of cards, basically. If you have nothing in your hand, bring him out, draw 3 cards by detaching all 3 material, and then for every one of them that is a monster, you can inflict 800 to your damage, but you just keep him in your hand, so it's pretty great. Number 23, Lancelot, Dark Knight of the Underworld. Great card. I love this card. If your opponent has a wall that you just cannot attack over, bring him out, attack your opponent directly with 2000, and then whenever he does that, he pops a monster on the opponent's field, which is really great. And then also, once per turn, the first monster spell or trap card effect that is activated, it is negated. Unfortunately, that also counts for you, and you don't get to choose. It is mandatory. So you might want to summon him after you've done everything that you plan on doing, otherwise he is forced to negate it. But attack and switch your opponent's turn, then the first thing they do is going to be negated, so that's pretty nice. And now for the rank 2 XZs, I have these because there are times whenever I have 2 of the level 2 Chemicritters on the field that this is all I can go into. So I have number 45, Crumble Logos, the Prophet of Demolition. Great card, and he's great for basically stopping my opponent's continuous spell cards or continuous trap cards that are really annoying. Never-ending nightmare, shit like that. It's stopped while he's on the field, so it's pretty great. And lastly, we have Gachi Gachigen Tetsu. This card is solely for stall. Just for protection. If you have literally nothing else to do, you get those 2 Chemicritters, make them into this bitch, and then just wait and hope. So, yeah, that is my Chemicritter deck profile. It isn't really quite done. Well, the extra deck isn't quite done itself. But, yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. It took me quite a while to get all the cards together to actually build it. But the end result is pretty nice. And it actually wins most of the time, surprisingly. So don't judge it by its cover. Now for the 3 stats I talked about at the beginning of the video, I'm now going to rate the deck by them. We have power, speed, and protection. For power, I give it a 4 out of 5 because, well, most of the monsters in the main deck have over like 2500 attack or more. So it's pretty great just for giant beat sticks. And then the XCs, you know, a lot of them have 3k attack and a lot of them have 4k and 4500k, so it's pretty great. For speed, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because it is pretty speedy, but like I said earlier, there's those times where you just get a hand that's just complete brick and you just can't do anything. And then for protection, we have a 2 out of 5 because usually the only cards that protect at all is First of the Dragons, for being a constant wall, and then we have Methydraco that just makes it to where they can't attack or target your Chemicritters. Gachi Gachi, you know, is another just wall that just stuns. And then we have Burnout, which, you know, just kind of helps whenever the opponent attacks, and at least you can not take damage for that one attack. And that's about it for protection. There's pretty much nothing else. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed my deck profile for the Chemicritters. Make sure to subscribe and like. It's really appreciated. I am just starting out, so as many likes as I could possibly get. I would at least like to get 10. If I don't get 10, I don't see any point in trying anything. But, yeah, I think it'd be great if I could start this YouTube channel up and going and see where I can go from there. I'm going to try and make more Yu-Gi-Oh content than just deck profiles. I'm also going to try to do a lot of Pokemon related things and possibly a lot of other top 5s or top 10s in the future. So if you'd like to see some of that and see what I can come up with, then please subscribe, and yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. So thank you so much for watching, and peace out.